All right, we count you down to the close right now with Erin Gibbs, who joins us here in Studio 2, Chief Equity Strategist with SlateStone Wealth, a boutique financial management firm. Erin, great to see you again.
Thank you.
We talk a lot. I mean, Scarlett was just talking about some of the performance, or I guess lack of performance, at least today with the Dow. But heading into this to today, there was a lot of talk about a potential broadening of the rally that we've seen. And I know the S&P equal weight has kind of underperformed pretty much for the last few months. And
yes,
the Russell 2000, though, has been trying to catch up. But the point is, you've seen a lot more interest in small caps, mid caps, basically stocks that aren't the Mag 7 or other big cap tech.
Right.
Are you one of those people?
I am. And we have seen broadening. It's very recent. I mean, we're talking 2-3 weeks here. This is not something that, but it is something that we're seeing less leadership from the Mag 7 and a broadening. And even though we see the indices just doing like a slow churn or flattening, we are seeing more participation within the laggards. And that's great news, because ultimately, if you're sort of at the tail end of an economic cycle, you're slowing down, you want to see some of those defensive stocks catching up and helping this continue to be a bull market.
Well, I'm curious, where are you seeing that? Is that like in consumer staples? Is that in just cyclical stuff?
So it's interesting. It's a little bit of a potluck. We've got quite a range of things. We've seen it in healthcare. We've seen it in food and beverages. We've seen it in some utilities. So a lot of the laggards are finally starting to catch up. And so, of course, many of them are defensive plays. They are companies that will do well even if the economy isn't doing so great. So, something that people still need to buy, or companies that have great pricing power. But that's quite a wide array of companies. It's not that concentrated.
You talk about a late cycle market. How long can that late cycle last for?
Right, the million-dollar question. I mean, we could certainly see, if we see continued inflationary pressure, particularly if that comes whether from not tightening fast enough and tariffs, I mean, we could easily go in for another year of just slower growth without, do we have to hit a bottom? Do we necessarily need a recession, or are we just sort of at the end of a long cycle?
What do you expect to learn from the retailers that do report earnings in the coming weeks? Because they are at the forefront of whether consumers are pulling back on spending because of the tariff concern.
Right. So obviously, yes. Have they started slowing down on their spending? Do we see any impact on the consumer discretionary? Because we know the staples are doing pretty well. Also, all about the guidance. I mean, one of the things is that we haven't really seen any of the companies or the analysts really price in their forecast with respect to tariffs, because it's just so unknown, right? It changes almost every day or by the hour. So that's an interesting thing. If we do see companies really start to give bigger warnings, and they have pulled back, but then
But you're seeing that show up in the PPI data. So it's there. The cost is there.
Oh, I'm talking about analyst forecasts.
So
like Wall Street.
Okay.
So Wall Street consensus, they're really not pulling them back. They're still very positive. We haven't seen big revisions.
Is that the idea that companies have enough savvy, at least the bigger ones? It's funny. So I was in a Walmart. By the way, it was like the first time.
You stepped foot in Walmart?
I know. I was on vacation, and it was the only thing. We were like way up in the
vacation rooming goes to Walmart.
Yeah.
And I forgot my swim trunks. Whole story. We don't have time for it. But anyway, I went in there, as I do. I annoy my wife by peppering the managers there with questions about how business is going, and they were like really like, look, they were like, no price increases, and they were kind of pointing to things like this. Is like basically this is the same price that's been for however long they've had it up there. He was making the claim that they haven't raised prices,
and that's true with many retailers that are able to shift costs, but obviously some can't. And that's really, particularly when the specialty retailers, the smaller companies, those are the guys, not so much your Walmarts, but maybe your Foot Lockers and those guys will get a better feel of how the tariffs are really going to impact them.
Can I tell you something else I learned? Did you know Walmart doesn't take Apple Pay?
I did not
No,
know that.
they take Walmart Pay, but not Apple Pay. Yeah, so you got to swipe your card unless you have Walmart Pay.
Yeah, did you have your wallet? You only had your phone,
thankfully
right?
I did, because otherwise we would have gone home swim trunkless. All right, Erin, I think we have to leave it there. Sorry, we got a little caught up in my vacation. Erin Gibbs is Chief Equity Strategist with SlateStone Wealth, counting us down to the closing bells here on this